Welcome in, everyone, wherever you are, how you may be listening. This is the Wednesday wrap-up. We got our man Herb in the house. What's going on, man?
Man, it is a beautiful morning. I'm always ready to talk some sports on Wednesday morning. I even got coffee in an Alabama rug.
Gotta have coffee. Yeah, no, it's NFL camps are underway, right? And the last time we talked about it, they were underway for 2 seconds. But we have our first full week of practices, and there's definitely a lot of guys that are not looking great to start this off. Right. They're talking about Jordan Love not looking sharp. They're talking about Caleb Williams not looking good. Now, the thing that's interesting, like the Jordan Love one, you don't put a lot of stock in. You're like, you know what? It's the first week of camp. Offenses are always a little bit behind the defense because they're trying to get timing down and all of that. So you don't put a lot of stock in maybe Jordan Love not looking great with the offense a week into, camp. The one you are a little concerned about is Caleb Williams.
Definitely.
Who has an upgraded line. Not that it matters right now. There's no pass rush anyway. But not being on the same page, the biggest red flag is Ben Johnson kicks the offense off the field, the number one offense off the field, because they couldn't get set up right. He's just like, get out of here. Second unit comes in. That's not great. And then later in the week, you've seen Caleb in situations where he would have been sacked, right? He scrambles out and he's running with the ball out here like it's a loaf of bread. And you're just like, man, first you would have been sacked anyway, but then in your scramble, you got to at least protect the ball.
Right.
Right. Like you're not Michael Vick. You don't have that speed. And even then it made you mad watching it. You're like, dude, just tuck the ball away.
Right. Yeah. No. And you understand Ben Johnson's frustration, especially coming from where he's coming from, knowing how tough your division is, knowing, okay, look, we're behind already. We've got to get you up to speed. And you can't start slow when you might be looking at 6 losses, you know what I mean? Just in there. So no, and he especially coming out of Dan Campbell, he expects more early on, which I think is definitely valid given all they've invested into this. So no, I get where he's coming from, man. And you wonder how much of it is just bad habits nobody's gotten out of Caleb and how much of it is just kind of who he is. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle, but you got to get this stuff solved quick. Bears don't want to go through another season like they've been going through, with like a little promise. And then, hey, man, hopefully defense will hold on enough where the offense can make one or two. Like you can't survive, forever. You're not the Chiefs, okay, where when your defense is miles ahead of your offense, you can count on Pat Mahomes to make a play in the end. Like, no, we need more from you consistently throughout the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, this feels like a year that is you have to show up, right? For Caleb Williams, with all the hype that was around him coming in, did he arrive to dysfunction? Sure, it was the Bears, right? But oh, that was weird. But I went to move it and it unplugged my cable. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I've got you one better. I've gone to move mine and hit the mute button and then not know it.
Oh, that's funny.
Live happens live, baby. Always love it.
You know it. Always some kind of weirdness. There's no doubt. Anyway, so it just this year you have the coach that you wanted. You have the offensive line. You have weapons. You have a solid defense. Yes, you're in a tough division, but you can not necessarily have the best record and show you're a good team.
Right.
And so this is going to be a year that people are going to look real close at when it comes to Caleb Williams as far as development. And same could be said for a guy like Trevor Lawrence, right? Like if this isn't his year, I don't know that he has one, right? I mean, at that point, you're sort of looking at Trevor Lawrence as a, missed missed potential kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see, but it's definitely one to watch.
Yeah. For Trevor, though, I mean, you just got paid too, so it's like
exactly.
How much of it, and I get on some of these, you're like, oh, has he had the best stuff around him? They've at least attempted to get some weapons, around Trevor. But at the same time, there's a certain part of me who's like, if we're going to pay you a boatload of money, I expect you to, what's up, Carol?
What's happening, Carol?
Yeah, Georgia Bulldog fan in the house stopping by. I appreciate you, Carol.
Nice.
There's a certain part of you that I expect to elevate even subpar receivers. I realize you can't, you have to have something. I get it. But once you start making 50 million, I want something out of you that says, it's definitely not just his fault. And I think for Trevor, there's still questions right now.
Well, especially for his unassisted errors, right? I think that's the biggest question there, where he's fumbling, just scrambling on his own. Nobody hits it. You're just like, okay, that's not great. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll see something good out of Lawrence. I don't expect a quarterback to be able to turn, Kadarius Toney into Randy Moss or anything.
Right.
But at the same time, you should be able to get him to a functional receiver.
Yes.
So
you shouldn't stop questions at this point once you make it. You should be like, no, he's definitely the guy. We just haven't done right. And I feel like they're like,
exactly.
I think he's the guy. I'm hoping he's the guy.
Well, they're looking at him. They're like, he could be the guy.
Right.
You paid him on could be.
Yes.
Oof. Man, that's a rough spot to be, because that is walking up to the roulette table and being like, all right, it's all on 13.
Yes. They're like, you don't want to wait and spread that out. No. All 13 right now. Let's go. Except for this case, that wheel is just spinning forever. And you're like, oh, God. Do I got to go through 17 weeks of this? Yes, buddy.
Right. It's like slowing down. And then just as it gets there, it speeds back up. You're like, wait a minute. That's not how physics works. Yeah. No, it's I don't know. Those will be interesting. The other one, obviously, we have to talk about the Browns, because they have the weirdest quarterback room that just got a little more convoluted because Pickett gets hurt. And so now you are looking at Gabriel and Shedeur getting more reps, especially Shedeur, right? Because he was getting like 3 or 4 reps total with like their 4th unit or something. So he should, in theory, be getting more of a shot, although the comments from the owner doesn't exactly inspire confidence. And the thing that's funny about it is I have this clip where I stitched it together where it has Haslam's comments yesterday, or day before now, I guess, and the clip that I had from the draft from the head coach. So here is that. No parts of this sound like they should have drafted this kid.
We thought he was good value at 146. We have good process, okay? And if you'd have told me, let's see, we picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur, I would say that's not happening. But we had a conversation early that morning, and then we had a conversation later that day. I think we had the right people involved in the conversation. At the end of the day, that's Andrew Berry's call. Andrew made the call to pick Shedeur.
Felt like he was a good, solid prospect at the most important position. We felt like it got to a point where he was probably mispriced, relative to the draft. Really the acquisition cost was pretty light, and it's a guy that we think, can outproduce his draft slot. So I wouldn't say it's any more than that. Mary Kay, I think, obviously Shedeur has kind of grown up in the spotlight, but, our expectation is for him to come in here and work and compete. Nothing's been promised. Nothing will be given. So, I may, hesitate to characterize it as a blockbuster. That's not necessarily how we thought of the transaction. But we are excited to work with him. Felt like.
So excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just exuding enthusiasm everywhere.
I mean, either I almost want to say, hey guys, blink if you're under duress or
Right?
someone's been kidnapped, just blink twice and let us know what's going on. I mean,
did they get a phone call from the league saying you are taking this guy?
Yes. Doesn't it feel that way? I mean, the Browns has messed up every quarterback situation ever anyway.
Yes.
The fact that everyone seems like they're trying to get out of the way of this one seems like they're ready to cut Shedeur, but they want the whole circus to be on somebody else. This is like getting out in front of the blame game,
Well,
which, by the way, is kind of ridiculous for a 5th round pick anyway.
Well, the fact that we're talking about a 5th round pick doesn't
how
make
many
any
5th round picks are not going to make their teams, and we're not
Most
even
of
going to know their names, right?
Yeah, most of them.
But this one right here is you guys have just messed up this whole situation.
Well, and the thing that's funny is they had a clear path, right? Because there's no way you're carrying 4 active quarterbacks into the league or into the year. Like, you're just not going to do it. Obviously, I don't include Deshaun because he's going to be out the whole year with the injury. So that's why I said 4 and not 5. But even if it was just the 4, you wouldn't carry 4, right? 3 at most. And, they obviously want Flacco for week 1. And that makes all the sense in the world because you have 2 rookies and a guy that might as well be a rookie, right? So you want Flacco because you want the adult in the room. Then you have Pickett, who has experience. So you're like, okay, I get that they want to try and keep that, which means Gabriel or Shedeur, one of those 2 is the odd man out.
Right.
Well, now Pickett gets hurt. Shedeur might get a shot, but kind of on a team that doesn't seem like they care if he's there or not.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that's necessarily a great fit. In all of those scenarios, he's not the starter anyway.
Yeah.
But, then if like Pickett's injury lingers, he becomes the odd man out, right? As he should be. But then you have 2 rookies.
Yeah.
That's just a weird dynamic too. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what the Browns are doing, but then at the same time, you're like, oh yeah, it's the Browns.
The Browns. Yeah. Have you ever seen a situation so avoidable? Just don't draft him. There was nothing like, oh, the opportunity cost. No, just don't draft him. Don't pick him up. What's up, Jay Bates? Good morning, sir. Just don't draft him. Avoid all this. Then you're fine, especially because you don't know Pickett's going to get hurt. And if Pickett's in another situation, there's probably a journeyman that you pick. You're the Browns anyway. Does it really matter what you do at this point? So just don't draft Sanders.
In drafting him, you aren't keeping 4.
Right.
Right. So you're either throwing the 3rd rounder you gave up for Pickett, the 3rd rounder you gave up for Gabriel, by drafting him, or the 5th rounder, and then what they gave up something else to move up to get Shedeur, right? So it's just like, what's the plan there? Like, you're throwing one of those away no matter what. One of those draft spots was just, you basically lost the draft pick because you're not going to keep all 4. You're not going to get anything for any of these guys. Yeah. Right. I don't know. It just seems like the Browns are fumbling the bag on the quarterback situation yet again.
Yeah. Which they didn't have to, though. That's crazy. And you put yourself in a position where you can't cut Gabriel. You don't cut a 3rd rounder.
Exactly.
To keep for me to cut the 3rd.
Money there.
Yeah. If you cut the 3rd rounder to keep the 5th rounder, the 5th rounder has to be vastly outplaying. Man, Shedeur's throwing with both hands. He's throwing left-handed and right-handed, than Gabriel. Yeah. It has to be that. But if you're not even getting first-team reps, then, it's such a Browns thing to do,
Yep.
And then, like you said, the owner for the first time ever come out and say, hey, this isn't my fault. Like, come on, man. It's like he knows, we're about to cut Shedeur. I just want everybody to know I didn't want to draft him.
That's what everything is leaning towards. Right. Is they're either going to cut him or they're going to trade him for like a 7th that has an escalator somewhere. Or, it's going to be something like that because how is it in camp? You still haven't given him more than like 3 or 4 reps with like a 4th string situation. You saw Shedeur, I think it was from yesterday's, walk up to Garrett and ask if he would, just kind of warm up with him. And Miles is like, you want me to like be a tight end or something? He's like, I know you don't want me to pass rush.
Right.
But I mean, if that's the case, that's letting you know they're not even giving him just basic stuff. So if you're that disinterested in him being on your team, just let him go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a huge Shedeur guy by any means. But I mean, you're kind of doing him dirty at this point.
I agree. And you had to know the scrutiny you would be under drafting him, which is another reason to avoid it. And, once he gets to the 5th round, I think there are certain people, and, you read this all the time, they were pushing for him to just go undrafted and pick his team. That would have been 1,000 times better than the situation that he's in. And like you said, I'm not a huge Shedeur guy either. It's kind of like, whatever. I have no vested interest either way, but
exactly.
Let him have some kind of control over this at this point, especially once you get to the 5th round in a terrible situation and you just picked up somebody in the 3rd with already having 2 guys. I mean, none of it made sense. So,
you know what, Jay Bake? I think he was just trying to prove that he can process information fast.
Yeah. Yep. No,
it definitely didn't help, especially since he got 2 in a row. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, you don't want those kind of distractions. He has his own distraction stuff that comes with him. But yeah, I mean, they didn't have to draft him.
No, not because they just drafted a 3rd. I don't. That's the only reason why I disagree with that part. Like him at 5, that's in the 5th round. That's fine. I get that cost for a lot of other teams, but not the team that just drafted a guy in the 3rd. Because once Bo put it perfectly earlier. Once, especially when you have 2 quarterbacks you just drafted, both of those guys aren't making the team. Like I can't see another situation where you would keep both the guys anyway. So in like 99% of the time, you're going to end up cutting the 5th guy anyway. So why draft him? Throw in any other position.
Especially when you look at the draft compensation they gave up to go get Pickett, right? Yeah. They gave up a 3rd to get him. They draft Gabriel with a 3rd. They're not giving Shedeur a shot anyway.
Right.
Right? So they don't even know if there's anything there.
Tommy Reese. That's the Bama stuff. Did you be Rod is like reached celebrity status.
That's awesome.
And yeah, Tommy Reese is the Browns OC. We had our own run-ins with Tommy here at Alabama. So that was fun. Tommy brought his own quarterback here and then kind of tried to tank the first guy. Then his guy got a shot and he was terrible. Tommy said, okay, fine, I'll work with your guy. Like you could tell a shift after that. So, and then his guy went to go win a national championship in lacrosse. So that tells you like everything. I mean, all right. and then came back to football as a wide receiver. And there's the whole full circle story on Tommy Reese's guy.
Yeah, well, and so Pickett did get injured, right? So, I mean, there is that. He has it was a hamstring, I believe. So, it's not to say that he can't get an opportunity. They just seem like they don't want to give him one, based on the comments from Haslam day before yesterday, based on Andrew Berry, like as soon as the draft was done. So, it just doesn't seem like they're actually going to give him that opportunity. Now we'll see if he gets that during preseason stuff, but at the same time, they still got to work out Gabriel that they gave up more to go get.
And that's what I think we're ignoring in this one. Someone gets injured. Yeah, someone did, but the first person who should get that opportunity is Gabriel.
Exactly.
You spent a real, that 3rd is way more valuable. So I get it's a blind dart throw, but I don't draft too much. So
they are spending money.
Yeah. Because we're not even, like I said, what's up, Domo? Good to see you, man. it's like you said earlier with Deshaun Watson. Like that's still a whole lot of money that you've invested there, and we're ignoring it because he's not going to play, but he's still counted under your whole.
We do get to ignore it. We do get to ignore it a little bit more than that, though, because they did restructure his deal. So realistically, I don't know that Deshaun plays another snap in football ever again. But the way that they restructured his deal, because they stretched it back out,
right,
is, I think they end up eating, what is it, like 28, something like that per year over the course of the contract. And again, it's all guaranteed, whatever. But it's at least a number that if you were to keep one of these rookie guys, his contract doesn't tank your team because you're not paying the rookie anything. So at the end of the day, I think it can work. But, so Deshaun isn't necessarily the anchor that he was over the last couple of years where he's just ruining the team.
The anchor.
I think they finally figured out how to get away from him a little bit.
Right.
So
Deshaun, the anchor Watson.
Yeah, pretty much. And not the anchor in a good way, like the one that like holds the team together. It's the one that's dragging it back. So, Yeah, well, so that's the thing. I wasn't sure if they were actually going to get the insurance payout because Watson hurt himself doing dumb stuff.
Right.
So, but if they do, like, that's good, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of crazy. I mean, it's, again, like you said, it's the most Browns thing to do, though.
Yes.
You basically created a quarterback controversy for no reason.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, my fault.
Yeah, I don't even think I can put that on. This is a family show. This one's still on this one's on the radio, so we can't elaborate on some of these comments. That being said, if you are tuned in on the radio, you can pop over to our YouTube channel at Football-Talk, and you can see some of these comments that come through.
Oh, man. I love you, J-Bake. J-Bake is always good for at least 4 or 5 comments during an hour show that you're like, yeah, I shouldn't put that. I
shouldn't, but I'm going to. But in this one, we can't. Exactly. Tune in everywhere. All right. So let's see what else was good in camps over this first week. Obviously, we got Trav in the comments. We already barbecued his quarterback. I'm
gonna have to go check out what he's got going on today just to hear what they think about it and what the outlook is this year for them.
Yeah, no, I mean we should have him on sometime just to tell us what it is he's seeing in camp.
Yep.
Because I mean, you're hoping it's good, right? I mean, you want to see this team finally kind of turn that corner a little bit. Okay.
Like, are you guys hosting?
Yeah, maybe we can't have you on the show like that. That's some like Cowboys delusional stuff right there.
Yeah. You know what I tell Raj when he says this about Tua and the Dolphins? Tua, they're going to the Super Bowl. I said, do they have tickets? Like, what right. Sorry, man, Trav. I love you, bro. Can I give you a quick one then? Aaron Rodgers throwing a interception on his first pass and then say, I'm just getting it out the way. That was one of my favorites.
And it's funny because that's another one where, again, you're just like, I don't read a ton into mistakes the first week at camp, new team, new receivers, all of that, right? So, like, I don't hate that for guys like Love and Rodgers. And, it's when you see guys like Caleb where you're like, man,
that was bad.
Like there's been a lot of like bad and you're just like, ooh, you don't want to see that. Right. Or here in Seattle, they're talking about Drew Lock looking better than Darnold so far. Again, it's a week. Doesn't matter. Locke has been here before. He's familiar with some of the guys. And so you're just like, okay, yeah, I mean, like I get it. Right. So yeah, I don't put a lot of stock in it. Now, if we are this time next month and they're like, Locke is looking way better, you're like, oh, okay, well, all right.
No, I'm with you. And he alluded to as much. I just like throwing out because I always have to throw in a little Aaron Rodgers hate, him in this Terry Bradshaw fight that's going on. But no, I think you're absolutely right. The way too much stuff. I mean, let's also be honest. We're kind of grasping at straws for news from camp. So, everybody's going to write about everything that happens early on. But I always say that. And you said it earlier, like offenses are always a step slow, especially in this case where you've got, a new quarterback and a receiver that just got there too. So you expect a lot of growing pains with a lot of these teams.
Well, and it's why the defense is always ahead, right? Because defenses, regardless of terminology, are relatively close together, right? Like they're not implementing any stunts and wrinkles and stuff like that because you're not doing anything for real yet anyway. So, I mean, It's all base coverages. These guys have all played football for, 15 plus years of their life. They understand what base coverages are. So, there's a reason the defenses always look a little bit better. One thing that was announced this morning is Dolphins cornerback, Kader Coho, season-ending knee injury. So in a defense that already wasn't great, you're starting to have players drop out on top of it with injuries, and not even like injuries that you come back at some point. I mean, you're done for the year. We haven't done anything yet. So Dolphins not looking great.
Yeah. And it feels like you're coming up on a key year for the Dolphins and for Tua. And you already have questions on the offensive side, like, oh, Hill's trying to win back his trust. Is Waddle gaining, like that kind of thing. The defense has always been behind for them. And like you said, so to get this, now we got questions on both sides. Like this is.
Well, and then you add in if they aren't able to do anything again this year, is their coach finally on the hot seat?
Should be.
Right? You would think so. Yeah. I mean, as much as I enjoy seeing him out there just because he's kind of a weird dude, like he looks like that guy that wasn't qualified for the job. Yeah. And then got the job. Yeah. Right? You're just like, oh, okay. I'm here. I guess I better figure out what it is I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. He looks like an intern whenever he gets out there,
And I'm not mad at it at all. I think it's awesome. And his sound bites are always hilarious. But at the same time, you're just like, I mean, at some point, the team not performing
has to be on you.
Right. For every other team, it does. Yeah. So.
Yeah. My thing with him has always been, and I get it, Tua's hurt a lot, but that going in, so I need a better plan from you from the backups. But if you're going to make your living on the offensive side of the ball, I need that side to be 30 plus a game. Yep. I need, like the Bengals. I mean, you can't, hey, they went all in on offense. Did it work? No, because their defense was absolutely horrible. But at least their offensive coordinator. Yeah, Raj, 828, man. But at least their offensive coordinators out there making his money because they're scoring and they're going all in. So
yeah,
I gotta have better from you. So
yeah, no, it's I don't know. That one is another one that'll be interesting to watch. And of course, we are at the halfway point. We got to say goodbye to our radio audience. If you're listening on 97.3 ICU Radio, stay tuned for smooth jazz coming your way. Otherwise, stay tuned. And we're going to talk a little bit about Deion's health. So he has his press conference yesterday, and nobody knew that he had bladder cancer. I think just about everybody, including myself, thought that it was going to be more about the blood clots that he had been battling with, over the last couple of years, where he had a couple of toes amputated. He's had, sections of his legs kind of cut out. So this time around, it was bladder cancer. They removed the bladder entirely. And, it was kind of neat on the medical technology side is
Right.
they used part of his small intestine to create a new bladder. Now, in the meantime, he is, with a colostomy bag, right? But the fact that they could do that is pretty amazing. And, also pretty amazing that no one on his team leaked that information.
Yeah.
Right. He was able to
Especially in this
somehow
day
keep
and age.
that from everybody.
Yeah.
So I think the thing that was really interesting that made him decide to go ahead and just have the bladder removed is to try and not do that, right? If they were trying to treat it, he was going to have to go in for weekly doctor visits for the next 3 years. And then it said the likelihood of the tumor growing back was 50-50.
Mm.
I would have had it removed with those kind of odds too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
No.
I mean, just get rid of it altogether and then you don't have to worry about it. Or you're talking about something that is aggressive, has a 50% chance of coming back. And that any kind of cancer, once it metastasizes into other stuff, like that's a whole different problem, generally uncurable, all of that. So I get exactly why he was just like, you know what? Get it out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, first off, I'm glad that he's okay. It's the fact that he even came out and was like, dude, they're telling me the other day, I've got to make a will, so that was like, yeah, it's scary. It was a good shout out to other people too. They said, man, start getting checked. We had that actually run in our family to where Raj and I have to get our prostates checked and stuff like that. So no, totally is a great message. Is a great thing behind it. I'm glad he's okay. It was a weird kind of subsection of the comments that was like, because the conversation was, was coming up Monday. So on Sunday, they announced that it was going to be a press conference Monday. And there's a weird subsection that's like, I told you guys he was going to retire as soon as his sons left. And he's having a press conference with his health officials. Yeah. You think there's more important stuff going on?
Well, so I think what they were thinking is potentially it was just more of the blood clots. Right. And he's like, you know what? Health is going to pull me out of it. I'm going to retire.
Right.
And then it ends up being, I had cancer. They cut it out. I'm going to be on this sideline. Right. Yeah. So admittedly, it went differently than I thought it was.
Yeah. I thought it was retirement.
Me too. But I thought it was because of the health issues that he had ongoing already.
Right.
So that being said, like you alluded to that, with his cancer doctors, I do have a soundbite here.
Grateful to be here to talk about bladder cancer. So bladder cancer is the 4th most common cancer in men. The early signs are usually blood in the urine. Blood in the urine in absence of infection is never normal and should always get checked out. I think people should see their primary care doctors, as Coach.
That freeze on my end, or is that?
It's staying well, eating well, don't smoke. Coach was never a smoker, and it's one of the people that just unfortunately got bladder cancer, but that's also something that's very heavily associated with bladder cancer.
So I didn't realize bladder cancer was the 4th most prevalent. So, I mean, that is a huge number when you think about it.
You never hear about it at all.
No, exactly. Yeah. So that was kind of wild to hear from their cancer doctors. Also, something that I never really thought about is they said if you were a smoker, that it increases your odds for bladder cancer. And that's also not a parallel I would have ever thought about.
Never.
Because anytime you think of a smoker, it's lungs, esophagus, your mouth.
Basically this way up. It goes
right?
for, yeah.
But like had it been for chew and stuff like that, you're like, okay, yeah, because you're swallowing a little bit of that and all the time. But then I guess at the same time, you're doing that with cigarettes too, the nicotine and the tar from it and whatever. So when you think a little bit more about it, you're like, yeah, okay, like I kind of get it. But yeah, so I mean, exactly. Take care of your gut, you know.
Yes, and get checked, like you said, man. That was the, you know, you could see one of the biggest reasons why he came forward. Very transparent.
Yep.
The medical, you're like, hey guys, I'm just doing this for the rest of y'all. You know, it's a very important thing. You know how we are as guys. I'm not going to go to that appointment. I'm going to skip that. You know, that pain, I'll get through it. I'm fine.
It's fine.
You know, it's the reason why our life expectancy is so much less than women's, because we're just not the smartest of people. So,
yeah, no question.
You know, at the Jay Banks point over there, man, there was a lot of people posting. It's amazing how many people want to get out ahead of a story. Yep. Several people posting. My sources tell me, you know, Sanders is going to retire at the press conference. Yeah, your sources told you, or
you just made it like up.
Yeah, this is what I think is about to happen. So yeah,
you know, it's one of the things that I find so weird about the news insider, you know, however it is you want to look at it, and not limited to sports, just in general, right? Whether like just evening news, all of that. People are so focused on being first that they don't care about being right. Yes. And like that, I never understand. I don't care about being first. I don't need to break anything. I don't care. If I report on it, I want it to be accurate.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's I'm my own source. Exactly. Yeah. My sources told me in a dream last night while I was sleeping. So yeah, no, it's I don't know. Like I don't get this like overwhelming urge to be first unless you're just out there trying to get clicks, I guess. Right. Like,
I think that's what it is at this point.
Like, yeah. Well, it has to be, because otherwise it really doesn't matter if you report on it as soon as you think you heard something, or wait 30 minutes and have it be accurate.
Yeah. I think it's for that world too, because I just as a person who's just consuming all this, most of the times I can't tell you where I read something first. And hey, you know what? I read this article on CBS, and nobody really goes, well, Herb, you know, actually such and such from ESPN was the first person to report. I'm like, exactly. I don't care. I just want the information at this point. I'm not really caring. I'm going to go to the sources that I go to regardless of who broke it first. So it really doesn't matter to me most of the time. So yeah. And can I address Rogers real quick? Raj, I don't know how much of the recruiting, but I can guarantee you the coaches that are recruiting against Deion will bring this up, because we know recruiting is a cutthroat game. And just think about, like in the Alabama situation, how many people went after him and said, hey, Saban's not there anymore. Like, this is why you should come to school. Other teams are going to use this against them. So that's where it's going to come. It's going to come up in a lot of other, hey, this guy's last two schools are BYU and Colorado. The BYU coaches are going to bring it up. So that's what I think.
No, I agree with that completely. You know, and anybody that is being recruited by Deion that's going to Colorado is going because of Deion, right? Like none of those kids are like, I wanted to be in Colorado the whole time. Like zero times was that a real thing. Right. So I don't think it's going to hurt his recruiting as much as you would think, because his recruiting is going for him.
Right.
And does he make it past this year? Tough to say. Does it matter anymore because of the transfer portal? No, it really doesn't. Mm-hmm. Right? Like if he's good to go for this season, people will go. And if he has to step away next year, so can they. I mean, we watched that happen to my Washington Huskies.
Yeah.
A year ago, we had a national championship level team. Our coach leaves, and so did our whole team.
Yeah. Yeah.
We went from a national championship game to 2 returning starters.
Yeah.
Not
now you're just making me feel bad, Bo. I'm sorry.
Not 2 on a side. 2 for the team.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. It's the nature of the game, right? Like it is what it is. You know, at the end of the day, it's I love the sport. If guys move on, it is what it is, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't put so much of my life into any one of my teams that like something happens and it just destroys me for the year. It's, you know, my life continues on the next day. Like they're not sending me checks.
Yeah. Yeah. I told you, Roger and I have our stories of that, to where we got to a point where like, all right, the loss has happened. 15 minutes later, I'm like, all right, what else is on? I know, Raj. He's making me feel bad. I was like, oh, man, I'm going to have to log off here in a minute.
That's right. I blame you guys.
I was like, I mean, to be honest, even as fans, yeah, thanks, Raj. You know, Raj with the backhanded compliments.
Right?
That's why
That one's not even backhanded. That's like a drop kick.
The problem is now it's become so normal. That's all the only kind of compliments I get from him is surprising. Like, thanks, Raj.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's other recruiting classes will definitely bring that stuff up though.
Oh yeah,
of course,
for sure.
But
for sure.
With the transfer portal and stuff, it doesn't matter. Whoever your coach is this year doesn't matter for next year because you have the autonomy to move around as much as you want.
Yep.
So,
and the way it's done, I mean, too now, like if he left and it wasn't a transfer portal season, hey, you got 30 days to make your decision after he leaves. So it's not like, oh, hey, if he ever left middle of the summer, you're stuck. No, I mean, they let you go whenever. So yeah, it would decimate the team, but for your personal thing, is like you said, you always have outs, so you'd be good to go. So yeah,
for sure. Well, and I mean, just because you're in the transfer portal doesn't necessarily mean you get picked up either. I mean, they always talk about how many guys are in the transfer portal that have been there for months or a year or whatever. So, I mean, just because you enter it doesn't mean you're going anywhere.
Yeah. We famously had a guy, I mean, he'd already left our school and he might have been on the second school, but 2 years after he'd been in the portal, make a Twitter post, hey guys, I'm still in the portal. I was like, I didn't even realize you were still being thought of. So yeah, that's because we publicize all the great stories, but all the people that just kind of get lost in the mix and end up at, Miami of Ohio last minute. We don't talk about those. So, and no offense to anybody Miami, Ohio fans.
Right way to bury a school, just random strays out there.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
That's usually what I do with like Temple when I'm talking about a team getting blown out. Sorry for all of you that play at Temple.
Yeah. Well, they're probably upset if they're playing for Temple anyway. So that's
because they get blown out.
We just lost a huge viewership.
Right, all one of them that tuned in from Temple. Oh man. So to wrap up the NFL for today, we have a New York City gunman that was looking for the NFL office. Somehow, I guess, got lost, got in the wrong elevator, ended up on the 33rd floor, injuring, I believe, 4 before shooting himself. But the thing that was weird about it is his suicide note was blaming the NFL for CTE. This guy never played in the NFL.
Right.
Guy was 27. Does he potentially have CTE? Anything's possible, right? They say that basically anybody that's played beyond the high school level probably is predisposed to have, CTE to some varying degree.
Right.
That being said, it also didn't say he played sports. So, I mean, not to say that that's the only way you can get it, but then it brings more questions in. Does he think that the NFL created CTE? What exactly was the thought process behind this thing?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was trying to go to one of their league offices in New York City, and their offices were on the 5th floor. He ends up on the 33rd.
Yeah.
So, it was funny because it was called the Blackstone Building, but the first article that I read, they said the Blackstone office. I was like, so he went to a place that makes flat top grills?
Yes. What is he doing? Yeah. I mean, none of it makes, and I read one article, he played high school football, but that's all they said. Yeah. So that's a quick little blurb, a decade ago. And he said he's only 27. You CT, you diagnose it after he's dead, do the autopsy, whatever. But none of it makes. First off, the people that you're gunning down have nothing to do with anything. That does not that you there's some particular person you should go after and do this
No, of
and blah,
course.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
But all the people that like really got all this started are long gone anyway, so I don't get this. The people that you think you're punishing have nothing to do with anything. They're just people eking out a living in the office. You overshoot the people you're supposed to be, like, none of it just, and your whole point here was nothing. You're not bringing any more awareness to anything that there haven't been a million lawsuits and discussions and stuff about, and they're already taking steps. It seemed like somebody who just, let's be honest, went a little crazy and just needed somewhere to blame something. But oh man, how do you overshoot an office by what, like 28 floors? Like, none of it. It is such a seamless, ridiculous, mindless act.
Well, and had it been like the 35th floor, where you're like, oh, you got into a high-speed elevator and you just didn't notice the 3, I guess, I don't know, but like, it's the 5th floor, you go to the 33rd, like, none of that makes sense. Obviously, there's also some conspiracy theorists now that are like, oh, it's the 33rd, it's the highest level of the Freemasons. I'm just like, okay. Like,
we're going too far.
What are we doing right now? Like, I mean, we would need Reynolds Wrap to sponsor this show for the amount of aluminum foil we'd need for this hat.
Yes. Exactly. I mean, at some point, it just boils down. Like, look, a guy went a little nuts and did something mindless. That's what it is. I'm not looking any further into it. And I feel bad for everyone involved. Definitely shout out to their family and prayers out. It's just a sad, random thing that people had nothing to do with anything get caught up in. It doesn't make any sense, man, at all. But the reasoning was just stupid.
No question. Yeah, it's I mean, it was so weird. And watching it unfold, I'm just like, I don't like, what was this guy thinking? And of course, obviously you have no idea until they do the autopsy, right? Because it's not something they can detect until after the fact.
Right.
Yeah, no, just sad situation that didn't need to happen for sure.
Yeah. And most of the people that end up with CTE don't go, oh, hey, I've got CTE. This is like, I'm mad about something. It's usually something just happens. They snap. Not, let me write a note about it, and this is why I'm upset before I go shoot. No, just.
Yeah, well, and it's a deterioration over time, right? Like, it's a brain disease essentially. So, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. That's for sure. All right, switching over to baseball real quick. We have robot umps aren't coming, but the challenges are.
Right.
And so they tried them out preseason. It was available in the All-Star game. They're going to try it out again postseason. But these pitches right here almost guarantee that it is an all-season thing next season.
As he tracks low, that was called a strike, and that was ball 4.
These are all from this year prior to the All-Star break. These are all punch-out calls.
And it's a Sunday strike zone for Bill Miller. Again, can't come to that. Okay, different look. Oh my! Like, come on now, Alfonso. You don't want to be the worst of the year.
And he's not.
That's at the bottom.
I always love the catcher pulling it all the way up into the strike zone.
Right? Like, some of these are framed fairly well. Like, I'm not super mad. The number 1 on this is rough.
Yep. Strike 3 call. Real Muto couldn't believe it. Is that?
I mean,
my goodness.
that's like 6
there?
inches out there.
Yeah.
Scott Barry. That was nowhere near the strike zone. That 1-2.
Also, 6 inches.
Wow. That was a delayed strike 3.
Even the catcher didn't believe that one.
Oh, yeah. And this one, he didn't even try and frame it. That's a foot outside.
Foot outside and low.
Yeah. Well, and
Like,
that catcher not only set up outside, like his whole body was outside.
yes.
He didn't even try to frame it in. He was just like, yeah, like this was going to be a ball the whole time.
We were just hoping you'd swing at it. Oh,
right?
Punch out. Cool. Appreciate it.
I mean, man.
So they're trying out the challenges, what, at the lower levels, or was that just in preseason? They were trying out
just in the preseason.
Okay.
It is going to be available to them in postseason play this year.
Okay.
But
is it one challenge? I'm sorry, go ahead. You're about to.
Oh, so as far as the exact layout, don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So it sounds like they're still kind of working through that element of it. But when you're seeing stuff like this, there was one a couple days ago. The pitch was literally right down the middle, called a ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it was like the announcer even made fun of it. Like you couldn't have had it more in the middle if you set it up on a tee.
Right. I asked that because I was listening to a random interview and I forget who the player was, but he was already talking about the strategy of challenges and, if you only had this many, do I use one here early or am I it's kind of like with basketball and football, am I saving them for later? So there's already being thought about, but I mean, you look at stuff like this and you just think, come on, some of you guys are not even trying, or the spirit of Angel Hernandez, I guess, lives on even after retirement. So I don't know, but that's got to be a frustrating thing. It's already tough to me. I played baseball 2 years, right? Great fielder, great athletic, blah, blah, blah. Couldn't hit worth a darn. I can't imagine what these guys, go through. But if you get to the point where, okay, I've judged this pitch correctly, it's nowhere close, I'm good, and you have a guy punch, like that has to be the most frustrating thing to me in baseball is to say, okay, I did everything I was supposed to do. So you're basically saying it was out of my control and I just have to swing at whatever comes across. Like, that doesn't. And then to me, it also kind of, let's say those were your first at bat and that happens. So now my second at bat, I'm thinking, now I got to get out of my strike zone. So now I strike out on my second at bat through no fault of my own because I'm thinking of the first at bat and going, well, I don't know that I have a choice now, right? So
now I have to swing. No, exactly. And I don't think that one. I mean, one of those might have been an Orioles game. There was an Orioles game. At least I think it was them. I want to say like the third game out of the All-Star break that they threw 6 balls, none of them close. Strikeout, called strikeout. And I mean, and literally threw 6 balls. So, I mean, what do you do? And Jay Bake, I agree, sort of. So I'm fine with the human element. Like, I don't want it to be robot umps. I like the idea of a challenge for some of them that are just egregiously bad, right? But if you do go to the robot ump, what I'm not a fan of is the fact that you get rid of the skill of a catcher that frames a pitch, right? And I don't even mind necessarily if there's an expanded strike zone as long as it's consistent, right? Like if you're a catcher and you set up on, the left shoulder, and so that lower right corner, because you can't see it super well, is a little bit expanded. That's fine. You can adapt to that. Similar to the NFL, right? Like if the refs are calling a game a certain way and they're consistent about it all day,
right?
Not mad at it, right?
Yeah,
You're like, oh, this is super ticky-tack, or they're letting them beat each other up, whatever.
Yeah,
as long as you don't come in the fourth quarter and now all of a sudden it's a different kind of penalty, yeah, that's a problem. But if you're consistent all day, I'm with you. I like the element of that, and I like the ability for a skilled catcher to be able to frame a pitch. But if it's going to be so bad that you could literally put, a ruler between the strike zone and the ball, well, then no, we got to do something about that, because that leaves the human error realm. And that's more of the, are you even watching the game kind of area?
Yes.
So
I think there's a difference in human error, right, and just being bad at your job.
Exactly.
Like take what was it, the Saints one where it should have been pass interference, guy gets tackled before the that's not the officials letting him play. That's just a terrible call, And Jay Bake, we haven't watched the game with Jay Bake, so I want to know when Alabama got flagged for that pass interference, when the guy was already at like the 50 against Tennessee, were you like human error, or were we screaming at the thing going terrible call? And I think there's just a difference in the two. Like a lot of those ones you just showed in the 10 was just terrible call. That wasn't human error. That was, hey guys, I wasn't watching the pitch when it came in. I was thinking about what I was going to eat after the game, and then I just went with it. Like, that's what some of those were.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, of course.
Raj.
You know, so you got to take your fandom out of it, right?
I quit.
You're making him pout now. Yeah, I mean, you got to take your fandom out of it because obviously if a call goes against you, you're mad about it. But you know, whether it's the call or a non-call, right? Like if it goes against your team, you're just like, what is this? But, you know, if you're watching a generic, you know, two teams that don't matter to you, you're just watching because you enjoy the sport. Bad calls still make you mad.
Yeah.
You're just like, come on, right? Like you watched a few of those against, or rather that benefited KC last year, right? They had 2 pass interference calls that didn't get called on them. One of them, they straight tackled the guy from the Falcons. And then the one they did get was for them, right? So they had 2 that they caused that weren't for them, right? That benefited them. And the one that did get called also benefited them. So, you know, so some of the human error is like,
and now we're over.
Overemphasizing now.
Yes, I appreciate you, Jerry.
It's too bad Jay Bake ship sailed. Man, yeah, no, it's I don't know. We'll see what happens. So, I don't want to see the robot umps. I mean, obviously, if we're going to start seeing calls like this, inevitably it's coming.
Right.
Not that you necessarily don't end up with an ump behind home plate. Of course you do. Somebody's got to call the plays at the plate, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think they need to be able to challenge plays.
Yeah.
They're kind of working through how many challenges, if it's how many per game, how many per inning, like that's all a work in progress still from everything I've read.
Yeah.
But based on this type of stuff, and again, those were only the top 10 worst going into the All-Star break. So it's not even over the course of a season. That's just course of the first
half,
80 games.
Yeah.
So, you know,
some very, very egregious ones. So I would like to see it, but I would like it to be like the other models right now and have less, and you have to be strategic. I don't want the guy in the first inning challenging and then the guy in the second inning challenging. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like it would get out of hand. And I also think baseball should not take this other model. If you are having like something, you know, where it's looked at or whatever by computer, somebody challenges it, that decision needs to be quick and let's move it along. You know, some of these games are already long enough. Especially because this is I can't put that one up. Appreciate you, Jay Bake. These insiders are liars. I mean, you know. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know that there should be necessarily a limitation, because if you got a guy that's just terrible, right? You know. But that being said, I think you're right. They should have, you know, a comm in their ear. It's already being viewed by robots anyway, right? So that should be able to come back relatively quick, because you watch it live on screen and on the Jumbotron and everything anyway. So realistically, he shouldn't have to walk over and look at a screen and all of that. Yes. It should just be, you know, you say, hey, check it, or tap the helmet, or whatever they decide, you know, they make you want to do. And then from there, you know, somebody just have it goes, hey, man, you suck. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Direct verbiage, in fact. You're just like, yeah, you're really bad at your job. So that being said, that does get us to the top of the hour. If you're watching on YouTube or wherever else you are watching, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our stuff to you. Otherwise, we got to get out of here up against it. Take it easy, everybody.